I've been looking at you.
Hey, what's up everybody? Joshua Casper here with AudioThing, and today I'm going to show you a few tricks that I use on vocals using outer space. And in fact, we're going to be using some of the new features that recently came out in the latest update of outer space. So make sure your plugin is updated and you have the ability to have this drop down here at the bottom, because we are going to use that. Let's go ahead and just jump into it. What we're going to be doing is making some vocal lead-ins. I'm going to go ahead and delete this one that I have for the demonstration here, and I've just got this little loop right here.
Girl, I've been looking at you, all the things that you've been through.
And what I want to do is have it kind of be led in by an effect, and I want to use the vocal to make that effect so it ties in really nicely. Right now it just starts kind of abruptly, and I think we can make it a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is come in here and highlight this part. Go ahead and solo it.
Girl, I've been...
So it's like girl eye, and I think that's okay. So what I'm going to do is hold control and bring it down to its own channel. And then I'm going to hit R in Ableton Live 10 to reverse it. If you don't have Live 10, just come in, double click and hit reverse right here and you'll reverse it. So this is what we got if I solo the channel. And that's cool. And that's because I think we have outer space on the channel already. Great. So this is the initial patch and this is what it sounds like. And that's cool, but I want the delays to be spread out a little bit more, so I'm going to be using tape head 3. Okay, and I'm actually going to bring it down further. So that sounds cool. And what we want to do is adjust the repeat rate over time to give it kind of a cool pitching effect. You see what it's doing there? It's making it pitched up or down depending on which way we turn the repeat rate. So we're going to be using that, and in fact, we're going to be dropping it down. So I'm going to automate that so we don't have to keep doing it over and over again. Inside Ableton Live, hit A to see the automation lines. You see that I have the repeat rate here, automation line selected, and what I'm going to do is just pull over like this, and let's see what it sounds like. Okay, so that's too short. Let's just pull it over like that. Okay, so that's lasting about the length of the delay line there. So if I open up outer space again, this is where the new features come in, because I want to actually use the V speed down here, and I want to go down as much as I can. So it's going to be plus 50 milliseconds, más o menos, more or less. So let's listen now. So that's much better for me. This just makes this time a little bit longer. So by default, you can only go so far, but because we have the repeat rate starting high and then going low, I want it to be a little bit longer when the repeat rate's a little bit higher on the dial there. So if you watch the repeat rate right here, you can see what happens. And if I turn this up the other way, this is what it would sound like. You see how it's closer together and higher pitch? That's not what we're looking for. I want to bring it down, like I said. And a couple other features we can use now. If we want to use the preamp, we can. If we want to do oversampling, we can. It's just going to give it a better quality. We got high quality mode over here, but I'm just going to leave it the way it is right now. I'm going to leave the reverb on as well, and I'm going to actually pull it down to about 5%, because I'm not really looking for the reverb tail right now. That's going to be in the next rendition of this particular effect. So this is what we have. And that's cool. So I'm going to right click, freeze track, and then right click, flatten track. And this is the delay line now. And what I like to do is, first of all, take this and move it over, and then just take a certain number of bars. So I've got 2 bars here, and I like to clip it off so I don't have a weird kind of stop time. Look how long that delay line is there. We don't need all that. So this looks fine. And then I'm going to click it and hit R again to reverse it. So now it's going to be going the original way. And I'm going to pull it over. And what I want to do is line up those 2 again. And then what I would do is cut that off. So let's listen to what we have now. So you hear how it's like coming up from the low pitch to the normal pitch, and it's sounding really cool. And if we play these 2 together now.
Girl, I've been looking at you, all the things that you've been through.
And if we want to make it sound a little bit more cohesive, we can make the effects the same. I also have an instance of outer space on the original vocal, so I could probably put that on this vocal too. And let's see what that sounds like.
Girl, I've been looking at you.
So that's what it sounds like. And I think it just makes it sound a little more interesting instead of just having the vocal start. So let's listen to it with the music.
Girl, I've been looking at you.
Boom. I think that sounds great. Let me show you some other ways you can do something like this a little bit differently with outer space. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that track and repeat this process. I'm going to do it a little bit quicker now and not really explain too much about these steps because I already talked about it. So here we are, we're reversed. I'm going to drop outer space on there. And what I'm going to do this time is put it on reverb only. And let's listen. Let's do it like that. Right click, freeze. Okay, we can stop the audio. Flatten. And again, I like to bring it over. And this is just so I can line it up perfectly. And again, I like to select, a nice, clean, even number of bars. Hit R again to re-reverse it. Pull it over, make sure it's lined up there. Great. And for this, I might bring it over because there's that little bit of space right there. I might put it something like this. Hit A so I can get my fade and then kind of fade it out like that. And again, we want to put any sends or return, any send effects, we want to add kind of the same amount, and we want to take outer space and add it to that track again, just so it's more cohesive. It sounds like it's on the same channel. So let's listen to that now. Is that cool? So let's listen with the vocal.
Girl, I've been looking at you.
And if we listen with the music.
Girl, I've been looking at you.
And obviously we can adjust the length of that tail. We can do some other things, but that's essentially the other way to do it. So I'm going to show you one other way to get it done. Go ahead and do that. R to reverse it, outer space. And this time I'm going to use playhead 3 again. And I want to turn it on sync. And, we can put stereo on if we want. Turn up the stereo delay. Let's see what that sounds like now on just that one clip. So that's cool. And moving the repeat rate doesn't really work when it's synced. So you kind of have to choose whatever you're going to go with. So quarter, let's try an eighth. Okay, so I like that. And so look, come out again, freeze, flatten. So now it's just going to be synced. It's a little bit different. This is like the third method, if you will. Again, same process as before. Hit that R, bring it over, lop it off. Again, I want to come in a little bit more and get it kind of like that. And let's listen to them together now.
Girl, I've been looking at. Girl, I've been looking.
So that's the synced version, and you can go, a half or a quarter or even an eighth like we're doing here, and it's still going to sound good, and it's still going to be more interesting than just having your vocals start. So let's listen to it with the music.
Girl, I've been looking at you.
Okay, so boom, there you go. That's 3 different ways to getting your vocals to lead in instead of having just start abruptly. It's a bit more interesting and a bit more smooth, and using outer space can get you a ton of different results easily and quickly. I'm Joshua Casper here for AudioThing. I hope you learned something. We'll see you next time.